Good morning. Coming to you from the base of the San Bernardino Mountains. And good news. Going on a little adventure today. It's a midsummer's day, late August, and we've had a hot summer so far. And I haven't done any fishing since late June, early July. So I'm excited to get back up into these local mountains. We have a little break in the temperatures this weekend, so I'm taking advantage of it. We're going to be exploring a lower section of the Santa Ana River, downstream of one of my previous videos where I was surveying some storm damage. So excited to check this out and see what the area looks like and see if there's any fishing to be done. So we'll see what it's like. All right. Well, we got out up here nice and early today. I left the house at around 5:15. I wanted to try to beat the crowds because a lot of people like to hike up that last section of road that I was just going up. And you can see it's a pretty rough road and only encountered those two hikers at the bottom. So left nice and early and looks like mission accomplished. I got out here before any kind of crowds. Now, this next section of road goes down to the river canyon. Always gets me a little anxious for some reason, this section. I don't think it's a particularly rough road, but it is real steep drop-offs and very narrow. So always a little anxious coming on this section. I've only been down here twice before. Both times were okay. The road was okay. But, we've had a lot of rain the past few years, and who knows what this road is going to be like. So entering this with a little anxiety, little apprehension, and we'll see how it is. Well, hopefully it's open. It looks like there's plenty of tracks, so I'm going to assume this road is open down into the river canyon, and interested to see what it's going to be like down there. I had a lot of flood damage upstream that I was showcasing in previous video, and it'll be interesting to see how that event affected this lower section of the river. So, all right, let's embark on the rest of our journey and see how it goes. Well, this road is definitely rougher than I remember it. Seems like the rain has created a lot more ruts and exposed a lot of the rocks, so it's a lot rougher than I remember it. Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, but getting a little nervous coming down here. It's not really, you're not really able to turn around on this road, and it'd be tough to back out of this thing. So I'm hoping I can make it to the bottom. Plenty of tire tracks though, so that makes me feel good, but it is a lot rougher than I remember it. So we're keeping our fingers crossed here. So far, so good. All right, well, we made it down. That was a little nerve-wracking, to be honest. A couple of those ruddy sections were a little sketchy, but feel good about going back out. Should be okay. Main concern is running into somebody coming down on the way out. Now we're down in the river canyon, so kind of relieved to be down here, and looks like there's a good amount of water, and the focus now is to check out the water and see how this fishing is gonna look. So I will continue driving for a little bit, and I'll check back in with updates as needed. Well, interestingly, the road that continues back probably about a mile or so upstream, that road has been washed out right here in this section. So this is the end of the line, and I'll have to just start hoofing it from here. But yeah, this road used to continue back to a gate probably about a mile back up into that canyon. So we're just gonna have to start from here. It's real sandy right here. Gonna come down here, check out the water. Looks like a decent amount of water down here. There's a power plant about 2 miles upstream that I was planning on walking up to. I don't know if I'll do that anymore. But usually a lot of the water gets diverted there, I think. So this is good to see a good amount of water here. I don't know if this will be any good for fishing, but we're gonna have to check it out. Nice clear water. So we'll see. Surprisingly cool temperatures. The thermometer on my car says 49 degrees, so pleasantly cool. I'm sure it'll warm up, but hopefully not much more than 80 degrees. So should be an interesting day as the sun's starting to come over the ridges. I'm probably gonna sit here for a few minutes before I embark on my fishing adventure. Surprising amount of water down here, to be honest. When I've been up here in the past, there was not nearly this much water down this far. There was a lot of water up above the power plant, but down here it's real sandy, so I think a lot of the water can go into the ground. But so this is interesting. I don't know how the fishing will be. I mean, there's no cover for the fish. There's no trees or any kind of brush on the banks, so I don't know if there's going to be fish in here. Maybe there'll be some over in this little bank over here and around this bend, but I'm certainly going to explore, and I'm going to have a good time doing it. What a beautiful day we have. Looking up the canyon that we drove down. This is a road that goes over to the dam, the Seven Oaks Dam. But God, it's great to be down here. All right, well, we're all geared up here, and the plan is to hike downstream a little ways, maybe all the way to where this stream enters the little pond that's forming behind the reservoir, or behind the dam up here, and then start working our way upstream from that. Going with the trusty 7.5 foot 2-weight, which is probably my favorite of my 3 rods, and using 5X leader, 5X tippet, and have a little dry dropper fly combo going. I have a cute little ladybug on the top, tied onto the tag of my leader, and on the end of my tippet I have a little beadhead nymph So gonna hike downstream a little bit. You can see the sun's coming out. What a beautiful day. So great to be up here fishing. We'll just kind of play it by ear up here today. I don't have high expectations for catching fish, but hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised. But it's all about being out here, and I picked a great day for it. I mean, once the sun comes up, it really started to warm up. Well, it's kind of interesting back here. I've walked down to where this pond is forming behind the dam, and there's a lot of water. I don't know if it's going to be good trout waters. Maybe. The surface is not completely solidified with logs right here, so I'm not going to be able to fish right here. There was a section just upstream a little. A guy was camped with his girl, so I'm not going to fish right by there. But I don't know, this might be kind of decent trout habitat. Trout living underneath this. So I may go over there, try fishing over there. This is pretty deep, so I can't cross it. But I might spend a little time fishing out over there since I've walked down here. Interesting nonetheless to see it. See, the water's pretty off color. I wonder what temperature it is. It's probably pretty warm. The stream that's flowing is definitely cold. But maybe I'll hike down here, walk around this bend, and see what the water temps feel like before I spend time fishing. Otherwise, I'll just start heading back upstream and trying to fish some pools on the way upstream. This water just seems a little too warm. It feels like it's around 70 degrees. I don't have a thermometer with me, but it feels a little warm for trout and a little stagnant. This looks like bass fishing country, but I doubt there's any bass in here. You never know, I guess. But I think I'm going to focus on heading upstream where the water is cooler and less stagnant. Hopefully find some good pools where we got some wild trout holding. This is really interesting to come down here and see this pond that forms behind this dam. So I'm glad I came down here, but I think I'll start heading back upstream to do fishing on the stream proper. Okay, we're gonna see if there's anything doing in this little pocket right here behind this rock. First throw in of the day. There's a lot of brush up there, so I got to be careful not to get snagged. Let's see how this works. Nice to be fishing again. It's been a while. It's been like a month and a half since I've been out on the water. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here on this in this pocket, but certainly looks like it could have fish. All right, well, nothing doing. Onward and upward. Okay, I'm gonna try casting up right at the bottom of this, or at the top of this little pool. See if I might get lucky. It's kind of deep right here, so maybe there's something out there. Should be able to get a nice cast. I got the wind at my back. Trying to position it right behind that rock up there where the water's cascading over. In that slack water, there might be a fish. Try to get a little closer. Ah, got hung up. right, we'll move on. Coming up on a little section that looks kind of promising. Maybe at the bottom of this little riffle up here. Think it's worth a try. Trout like that oxygenated water, so where it's being churned and where it's cold, and they like a little bit of depth. So at the base of these little waterfalls there can be little pockets, and that's what I'm hoping we got right here. I'm just gonna cast right up into this little cascade and let it drift down. I want to avoid these submerged tree trunks, so I'm going to try to get close so I can cast above them. Snagged. Snagged on one of those tree trunks. It looks like it's close to the surface. I'm going to come around here and see if I can get it. I'm thinking there may be fish at the bottom of this boil right here. Doesn't seem to be the case though. Looks like we have another angler here. Here's where I'm parked. Angler must have gone upstream, so I'm gonna follow him. Any tips out there for catching fish when there's no fish in the stream? Would love to hear them. How do you catch fish when there's no fish in the stream? Let me know in your comments down below. Gotta keep heading upstream till we find the fish. That's what you gotta do. You know there's fish in here. Know there's fish in this stream. They're probably just further upstream. Looks like kind of a decent pocket right here. Getting into some nice pockets up here, but still not getting any fish. For some reason I'm feeling good about this little spot right here, right at the base of this little cascade. Some slow water. For some reason I have a good feeling about this. It looks good. Got the wind at my back so I can cast up into it. There's got to be some fish in here eventually. All right, well, I've been hiking for about probably 2.5 or 3 hours or so. I've been hiking for a long way. Found a nice sycamore tree to sit under, and it's kind of an interesting spot right here. This is a spot where it looks like the river totally changed course in one of these last seasons of wet winter, or whenever the rain was. We had a big hurricane or tropical storm roll through here about a year ago, last August, so maybe it was that. But the river used to hug this side of the canyon over here, and there was a road on this side of the canyon. Now the river flows over where the road used to be, so the road is just totally washed out, and the river has totally changed course here with the buildup of all these boulders and all this sediment. So I think I'm going to take a little rest here, have some food, so I might turn around and start hiking back to the car from here. Didn't see any fish, so chalk one more up for the fish, but I just don't think they're in this section of the stream down here. Maybe the water's too warm. Maybe there's no cover or shade for them and it's too sunny, but just haven't run into any fish down here. So fishing report is negative on the lower section of the Santa Ana River up here, but it was a nice day out here nonetheless. So we'll see what I do after eating some lunch. Maybe I'll continue hiking upstream, but more of the same. I just don't really think it's worth it. It's probably best to start hiking back to the car. So we'll check back in a bit to see what the verdict is. But for now, it's looking like I'm probably going to start heading back downstream. Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You win some and you lose some out here when you're an angler. But that was a real nice exploratory mission today, coming down and checking out the lower Santa Ana River. I always wonder about this section of river, and always think about it, wonder what it's like, or what's going on down here. So it was good to get down here, and I will be back. Although it's totally different now with this road that's no longer here. This is a totally new river, and there weren't any fish in here. It's difficult to get up to the above the powerhouse from this way now. It might be better to go from the other direction. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'm not sure about future trips down here for fishing, to be honest. I'm sure I'll come check it again, maybe when the weather is a little cooler, to see if there's fish down here. Maybe the water was a little too warm, or the sun's a little too high. But yeah, it's just you can't get as far upstream. It's slow going when you're boulder hopping along this river right here. So, but we'll see. We'll see when I come back here again. I mean, it's good flows for fish. There's plenty of water in there. There's just no cover, and I think that's what's contributing to no fish. So, well, we made it up that road. That's a pretty sketchy road. It's just a lot of exposure, real narrow. There's nowhere to turn around. So made it up, no problem. Nobody coming down. That was my main concern, other than the ruts and all the pinstriping that I'm getting on my truck. But nobody was on the way down while I was coming up. So that's a big relief. But for now, signing off from the San Bernardino Mountains. Till next time.